starting at the first verse, when Elijah and Elisha, they were friends. And Elisha had noticed so many things about Elijah. He saw that he was really a true man of God. He saw all the miracles that God was doing through him. And Elijah knew that he was going to leave and God was going to take him up by a whirlwind. Elisha, he saw so much in him until he said, look, I would never leave Elijah because I want that same spirit that Elijah has. Elijah kept telling him, said, look at the second verse. He said, I need to go to Bethel. And Elisha told him, said, look, you tarry here, you stay here. He said, but as the Lord thy God liveth, yes, I will not leave thee. Hallelujah. Isn't that a bond of connection? Yes, yes. Showing spiritual sincerity. Yes. That he saw something in Elijah. Yes. God was really working in this man's life. He has such a determination. He had tenacity, meaning that he had great determination that he was not going to depart or let Elijah depart from out of his presence. The subject today is being persistent. Being persistent. When a person is persistent, as I said earlier, is a person of tenacity. In other words, he said, look, I'm going to hold firm to this thing because that's something I really want. You know, some people take things lightly and they feel like if it doesn't happen, it just doesn't happen. But Elisha said, no, I don't care where you go. You go to Bethel, I'm going. He said, I'm going to Jericho. He said, I'm still going. Then he ended up, and when he got into Jordan, that's when the action really took place. Hallelujah. Look at the 6th verse of this 2nd chapter. The Bible said, and Elijah said unto him, tarry, I pray thee here, for the Lord has sent me to Jordan. Mm-hmm. And he said, as the Lord liveth, and as thy soul liveth, I will not leave thee. And they two went on. Don't ever take no for an answer. Hallelujah. When you're seeking something from God. Amen. Because God will never turn you down. Come on, sir. The Bible says, and the 50 men, look at the 7th verse, of the sons of the prophet went and stood and viewed afar off, and they too stood by what? Jordan. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together and smote the waters, and they were what? Divided hither and thither, so that they too went over on dry land. Oh, Come on, y'all. See, Elisha rather, he was learning things from Elijah.
Hallelujah.
And he was very determined that he was going to get what Elijah had before he was taken up in the whirlwind.
Amen.
It's how bad you want something. Y'all understand?
Amen.
Sometimes we quit in the middle of the process.
My.
Yep.
When God was almost ready to bring it to pass for you. As I use a little example or scenario, it's like the man was waiting for the bus and said the bus supposed to have been there at 8 o'clock. And I'm 8:15 and the bus still hasn't come. The old lady that was there said, be patient, son. Said, wait, that bus always showed up. He said, well, I'm not going to wait any longer. I'm going to run in the house and get something, and I'll be back. The old lady said, I ain't going nowhere, because I know the bus coming.
Amen.
When you know a thing, don't let nobody
Hallelujah.
take the tenacity from you.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
When he came out, the bus was gone. He was right in the middle of the process that he could have ridden the bus. Many of us get to the place until we let discouragement rip us apart. I can't take it no more. I done tried, I done fasted, I done prayed, and I can't take it no more. Well, then the Bible said, be of good courage
Yes.
and wait, I say, on the Lord. Y'all understand?
Amen.
What am I saying? Things don't happen all the time when we want it to happen.
Amen.
But we got to be persistent in our faith and walk with God.
Yes.
That sooner or later, God is going to come through.
Yes, he will.
Hallelujah.
When they went to the upper room, Jesus said, it's not for you to know the time, nor the season,
Amen.
but ye shall receive power
Yes.
after that the Holy Ghost is come.
Amen.
You got to be determined
Yes.
in order to be persistent.
Yes.
You know why some people backslide or just leave away from the church? Because they feel like things are not happening as fast as they would like for it to
So
happen.
true.
But you got to remember this.
Hallelujah.
God works in his own time,
He does.
at his own pace.
Yes.
Because God has a plan and purpose for your life.
Amen.
Well, if Elijah wanted to, he could have skipped over Bethel
Yes.
and just went straight to Jordan. But everywhere he went, God had a purpose and a reason for him going.
Amen.
And everywhere he went, Elisha absorbed something from Elijah.
Yes, he did.
Have you been around people that gave you some positive, with a positive impact on your life?
Amen.
Telling you so you can make it in the midst of look like when everything falling apart and they tell your house is on fire, they said that's all right, don't worry about it. Amen, hallelujah, it's still going to be all right.
Amen.
And they're telling you to rejoice when your house is burning up. You got all your children standing out in the street. Because let me tell you one thing. Anything that the devil takes away from you, God can replace it
Yes,
for
he
you.
does.
Y'all understand what I'm saying?
He does.
Amen. Job lost everything that he had, but he didn't. Y'all hear what I'm saying? But he didn't lose the relationship he had with God.
Amen.
Amen.
See, his wife did not have the tenacity or did not have the determination as Job did. Everybody may be a link on the chain, but that doesn't mean because you are a link on the chain that you are that strong link.
Amen.
You know, a chain break
Yes.
where the weakest link is.
Yes, it will.
And whatever you be, don't be a weak link
Amen.
to break that connection.
Amen.
Y'all better help me up in here. I feel like preaching.
Preach.
Being persistent
Yes.
and being determined. You know, hell or high waters. He said, I got to get this thing that Elijah had. You know why God allowed Elijah to give up the mantle? Because where Elijah went, he didn't need it no more.
Amen. Amen. He didn't.
All right, man.
It wasn't, if it was not for the decency of a burial, you could bury somebody in the casket naked. But because of the decency, you put clothes on.
Amen.
Oh, help me now. Y'all got quiet now.
Come on, sir. Come on.
You preach.
When the rapture takes place, not only our clothes will be left,
That's right.
but we're going to be changed
Amen.
from mortal
Yes.
to immortality. Y'all better help me now.
Amen.
We put too much determination, or we are so persistent in the things that don't really matter.
So true.
Amen.
We should be more persistent in God
Yes.
and in the things of God.
Amen.
Because anything outside of the word is not going to keep you in God.
Amen.
Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Amen.
Somebody say too much work and not enough play make Jake something sad or somebody. Don't believe that. That's a saying, honey.
Yes, it is.
You understand?
Yeah.
If you know like I know, you better work out your soul's salvation
Hey.
with fear and with trembling.
Amen.
Amen. And be persistent, amen, to endeavor those things that God has for you.
Amen.
Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now listen what happened. The eighth verse. And Elijah took his mantle and wrapped it together. Y'all see it? And smote the water, and they were what? Divided hither and thither, so that they too went what? On dry ground.
Yes.
Y'all understand?
Yes.
Y'all see that?
Yes, sir.
And it came to pass that when they were gone over, that Elijah said unto Elisha, ask, listen now, doesn't this sound like God? He said, ask what I shall do for thee before I be taken away from thee. And Elisha said, I pray thee, let a double portion
Yes.
of my spirit,
Yes.
of thy spirit be upon me. Lord have mercy.
Jesus.
And he said, thou hast asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, if thou seest me when I'm taken from thee, it shall be so unto thee. But if not, it shall not be. So he put the pressure on.
Yes.
He said, all right, you asked for it, now you got something to do. You don't follow me. Now in order for you to get it, this double portion, so you're going to have to see me when I be taken up.
Yes.
He said, but if you don't, you won't get it.
Amen.
See, one thing about God gives us options.
Yes.
You understand? God gives us options. Is that right?
Yeah.
That's why Jesus said, choose you this day. I feel like preaching. I'm putting the news in my mind, but I'm trying to hold back
Come
up.
on, man. Come on. Yes.
Almost about having a Jesus attack up here.
All right.
So much stuff flowing in my head. Amen. Hallelujah. It's just something about the Lord, honey. When you be consistent and persistent, amen, hallelujah, and determined, amen, that you're going to get everything that God has for you.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Lord. All right. That's it.
And let me tell y'all something. Oh, Lord. he couldn't have done it without being a good follower.
That's right. You got that right.
Everybody wants something, but they don't want to be a follower.
That's right. Hallelujah. Preach it, Bishop.
Come on, Bishop, you preach it. Come on, sir.
Come to school first day, get your books and read your books. Then don't come to school no more. And come back graduation time and think that you're supposed to graduate. And wonder why you got a big fat F and you failed. It took you 23 years. You were 23 years old when you graduated from high school. And everybody else left out there at 17. Oh, don't blame it on the teacher. Don't blame it on your peers. You blame it on yourself. Because when you were weren't born with somebody else's mind. You were born with your own mind.
Oh, yes.
Amen.
You know how people sometimes try to transition things to other people. Yeah, if it wasn't for him, it wasn't for her. Just like Adam and Eve, they sitting up there talking to God. God said, no, I'm going to punish all of y'all. The Bible said, the soul that sin, it shall what? If you look at Elisha, he was a good follower. He listened. He observed. He obeyed Elijah. He did what he told him. And then the 11th verse said, look at the 11th verse. And it said, and it came to pass as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a what? Chariot of fire, fire, departed them both asunder. And Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven. And look at the 12th verse. And Elijah saw it. And he cried, my father, the chariot of Israel, and the horsemen thereof. And he saw him no more. And he took hold of his own clothes and rent them in two pieces. And he took up also the mantle, Lord have mercy, of Elijah, and fell from him and went back and stood by the banks of Jordan. And he took the mantle of Elijah, and that fell from him, and smote the water and said, where is the Lord God of Elijah? And when he also had smitten the water, they parted thistle and thistle. And Elisha, y'all see what I'm saying? Amen. Y'all see what I'm saying? Y'all see what I'm saying? See, God knows how to take and transfer power and authority to whomever. Y'all understand what I'm saying?
Yes, he does.
That's the order of God. God just doesn't let something start and stop. God continue things if things will keep going on. So, what Elisha did, he went back to the same Jordan. He took Elijah's mantle and he hit the water. And what happened? The water opened up. And he looked, and there he was. He was going through on dry land. You know, one thing about the Bible, it has so much correlation between scriptures. Look at Exodus 14 and 21 real quick and see how these scriptures correlate. See, things just doesn't happen just to happen. It correlates. God has a divine correlation between things that happen. What does that 21st verse say?
Amen.
Exodus, the 14th chapter and the 21st verse. What does it say? Come on.
It says,
say what?
the word of God says, and Moses stretched out his hand.
See, God used Moses' hand. Elijah used the mantle. So what is that saying? God can use whatever he wants to use to get his program over.
Come on.
I told y'all this morning, 8 o'clock, sir. Peter had so much of God's authority inside of him until he didn't have to touch nobody. It just the shadow from his body. When he touched the people, the shadow touched the people. The people were healed.
Yes.
Amen.
Amazing.
Look at somebody and say, God got healing in shadow.
God got healing in shadows. Come on, y'all.
What that 21st verse said again?
And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea.
Over the sea, and what happened to the
And
sea?
the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind, and all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided.
See? Y'all see the same thing happening? God still divided the water.
Amen.
Listen. Elijah's mantle would not mean anything without God being in it.
Amen. Amen.
See, I can stand in this pulpit and I can just talk all night long.
Yes.
But if God ain't in it,
Amen.
you know what? I might well shut my Bible up
Amen.
and tell y'all go home.
Amen.
But look at somebody and say, God is in this thing today. Because we are determined, that we are persistent, that whatever that we have an aim, a goal for, that we are not going to stop until we get just what we are looking for. Now the Bible says, if you just ask, it shall be given. He said, you seek me, you will find. He said, you knock, the door shall be open. Amen. Isn't that determination? Isn't that determination? Amen. Hallelujah. But let me show y'all something. Now the Bible lets us know. Amen. Go to St. John 14 and 12. I'm trying to draw a picture for you to show you how God works. Amen. Hallelujah. I want y'all to be, amen, in a position with God until you ain't got to call your preacher all the time.
That's right.
The only thing you need to do is call on your God. Oh, I feel like preaching now. Hallelujah. Now look at the 14th chapter of John in the 12th verse. He says, what?
Verily, verily,
I say unto you,
that he that believeth on me,
he that believeth on me,
the works that I do,
the works, what?
that I do,
That I do,
shall he do also.
that he shall do what also?
Yes, sir. And greater works
And greater works.
than these shall he do.
Indeed, what?
Indeed,
Indeed
shall he do.
shall he do. Y'all, did y'all get that?
Amen.
Did y'all get it?
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Let me tell y'all something. Elijah was going up in a whirlwind. He was up there with God. All right?
Come on, sir.
And through Elisha asking,
Yes, sir.
God had addition of greater works
That's right.
for Elisha.
Yes, sir.
Y'all better help me now.
Come on, sir. Come on.
In this in this 5th chapter of Kings, 5th chapter of 2nd Kings, and I'm going to make it short so we can get to the point. In the 10th verse of this 5th chapter,
Yes, sir.
the Bible said, and Elisha sent a messenger to him saying, go and wash in Jordan 7 times, and thy flesh shall come again to thee, and thou shalt be clean.
Yes.
Now there was a man, he had a serious condition.
Yes, sir.
He was leprous.
Come on, Pastor.
Hallelujah. But if y'all notice one thing, Elisha left on a chariot of fire. Y'all better help me now. With horses, with chariots of fire. In the 9th verse, the Bible said Naaman came with his horses. Tell somebody that the horses are still around. Came with his horses and with his what? He came with his horse and the chariot. Elijah's horse and chariot was gone and ran back up to glory. But he came to the sick man with his horse and his chariot. Y'all better watch tonight. God may send a horse, a man with a horse and a chariot to your house. But y'all better help me now. And the only thing you need to do to hear what God has to say. Let me tell y'all something. Don't ever try to articulate what God is really saying and trying to make sense out of what God is saying. Because a lot of things God says, it may sound foolish to the ear. Like when God told Abraham, go up and offer your only son Isaac, me to go to kill him. Somebody would say, oh no, that's not like God. Amen. Don't y'all try to ever position your words to make sense with your common knowledge, because God ways, I feel like preaching, past man's understanding. So don't try to articulate God's word, because whatever he says, it's going to happen, honey. Oh, I feel like preaching. So look at here. The man then, he went. Elisha sent the messenger and they said unto him to go wash in Jordan. Y'all see the 10th verse? Or the 5th chapter, 2nd Kings. He said, not just one time, not 2 times, not 3 times, not 4 times, not 5 times, but he said, do it what?
7 times.
See? And listen. But Naaman was wroth. Amen, hallelujah, and went away and said, behold, I thought he will surely come to me and stand and call on the name of the Lord his God and struck his hands over the place and recovered the lepers. You know, your thoughts are not Jesus' thoughts.
That's right.
Stop trying to figure out. Listen, let me say this to you. When the man of God tells you something that God had told him, stop trying to make sense out of it. And the way you find out whether it's true or not, do it.
That's right. Amen.
If God may tell a man of God, tell you one day, and you may be the poorest person on the block, and he'll tell you, say, give all your money to me. And he riding up there in this brand new Cadillac, and then you don't have nothing but just a few dollars. He said, come and give me all of your money. He said, God told me to tell you, give me all of your money. And the first thing you're going to say, now that's not God. Let me tell you, that's not God. That is not God at all. God will not take from the poor to give to the rich. Amen. Hallelujah. You know what it was? It's not that the rich man needed it. God was using it for a test of faith with you. Because anything that's not associated with faith is not connected with God. Because anything that's not a faith is not even a part of God. Because without faith, it's impossible to please God. Oh, I feel like preaching up in there. I told y'all about to go crazy up in there. Amen. Hallelujah. I'm just feeling so good. Amen. Hallelujah. Now listen. Instead of, look at the 11th verse. Instead of Naaman going and doing what Elisha said, he got mad. Have y'all ever seen people pout when you tell them to do something right?
Oh, yeah.
When the last time you see somebody pout? You tell them something, you try to tell them something right, the first thing they do like, and the first thing going in their mouth, I thought you were gonna. Let me tell you, if you ever want to test your wife's faith or your husband's faith, go and get a whole basket of groceries. I don't care whether you go to Kroger's or Publix. Get a whole, and then you just get the one that put the most in there. Watch the one that put the most in there.
Yes.
And get right up to the camera, go with the checkout counter. Oh, honey, I think I get that roast. I think I get this beef. Say, yeah, okay, honey. And let me just keep on putting it in there. Let me tell you something. And when they get up to the counter, you say, I'll be right back. And leave the wife at the checkout register. Since she put all that in the basket. And she ain't got no right to fuss with you. Because she got a checkbook too, just like you got one. And if she really love you, she gonna say, Lord, are you testing my faith? No, you just paying for what you put in the basket. That's all. Some things not a test. You just paying for it. That's all. Amen. Hallelujah. Sometimes God has a way, of helping us to cut down on things that we don't really need. How many of y'all got meats in your freezer that freezer burning? Y'all have thrown away. I know it's more than one hand should be going in here. Amen. Isn't that right? Sometimes God has to teach us a lesson. The one that buys the most ought to pay the most. Oh.
Come on.
Please don't get upset with me.
Come on, man.
Because let me tell you, half the things that God's saying doesn't make sense to the human brain anyway.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense to the human brain. No. I told y'all God says way past man finding out. Is that right? So listen, why would God tell Elisha to go and tell this man dip in this old dirty water? Hello, somebody. Naaman had a problem with it, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He thought the man was going to come and put his hands on his head like the average preacher does, rather. Amen. Listen, the 12th verse says, am not what? Amnon and Alphonso, rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Mm-hmm. He was asking the question, may I not wash in them and be clean? Mm. So he turned and went away
in a rage.
He was mad. You know one thing? A lot of people, when God get ready to bless you, I'm telling you, you get so mean and angry until God has to sometimes put it on the side. So you ain't ready for it. Your persistency have just left you because of your eyes of what you're trying to see. So the Bible said, and the servant came near and spake unto him and said, my father, if the prophet, y'all see the 13th verse? Y'all follow me? If the prophet had bid thee to what? To do some great things, wouldn't thou not have done it? How much rather then, when he say unto thee, wash and be clean? Then went he down and dipped himself 7 times in Jordan, according to the saying of the man of God. And his flesh, what? Came again like the what? The flesh of a little child. And he was clean.
Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Yes, he was. Glory to God.
When you are persistent, look at all of these spiritual things happening in Elijah's life. All because he was persistent in getting what he wanted. We should be so persistent to reach and follow after the things of God. Because even God told his disciples, he said, greater things shall you do. Because I'm going to die and go to the Father. That's what he was saying. So the apostles, they were able to do greater things than even Jesus. Because Jesus, that was an ending. When I die, these preachers, the people of God in this church, you all going to do greater things. Because I'll be dead and gone back with God. And y'all still living and working with God. Y'all see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In other words, the works of God never stops. The Spirit of God is transferred from one to the other. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Amen. Hallelujah. Is that right? Oh, I feel like preaching up in here. Amen. Hallelujah. So God then, amen, blessed Elisha, amen, hallelujah, to be a blessing, amen, as Elijah, amen, was being blessed. Is that right?
That's right.
Amen, hallelujah. And even how Elisha went when the woman didn't have no money to pay her bills and told her, said, look, you go and make, amen, some oil, you borrow some water, some bottles, amen, hallelujah, put oil in it and you sell it. Amen, hallelujah. And let me tell you one thing. Amen, God blessed the woman, amen, and a child. Amen, they lived and they had more than they could ever want. If you learn to be persistent, amen, have the tenacity, amen, to be determined, amen, that regardless of what happens, what goes on, amen, hallelujah, you got to understand that God will, amen, give you everything you need. He knows how to supply all of your needs according to his riches in glory. Amen, the Bible says, eyes have not seen, nor ears have heard the good thing that God has in store for those that love the Lord. Just keep seeking, amen, the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and everything else, amen, will be added unto you. Amen, just be persistent, amen, until you get to what you need to get, amen, from God. The woman that had an issue of blood, amen, she said, I'm gonna just keep moving, and because if I can just touch his clothes, I tell people all the time, you can touch anything, amen, about God, and you're still gonna be blessed. She can touch the skin, but she touched his clothes. Sometimes around people that are truly blessed, I would just like to tie up their shoes. I would just like to touch him or her on the shoulder and say, praise God. Y'all better help me up in here. I believe that even some of us, amen, even after we're dead and gone, if you walk over that graveyard, you may feel a little something coming from under the ground. Y'all better amen, determination, being persistent, amen, hallelujah. I don't have time to get to the widow woman that when she had to face the unjust judge, and the judge didn't fear man nor God, and the woman said, wait a minute, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep on coming back until I get what I want. And y'all got to keep on asking God until God release what you're asking him for. You got to learn not to be a softy, amen, but you fight it, a good fight of faith, and say, I'm going to wait on the Lord. Y'all better help me up in there. I believe that somebody is waiting right now for God to do something. But God is not going to do anything until he sees the faith that you have in him. And your faith is determined that if you really have true faith, that means you're going to trust God, you're going to believe God, and you're going to wait on God. Don't let me lose my mind. You may not have too much. You may look like you lost all your stuff. But as long as you have not lost a relationship with the master, everything is working in your favor. Hallelujah. It may not be here now, but I know it's coming out the wild. Look at your neighbor. Be encouraged. No matter what's going on, say Jesus will make it all right. Hallelujah. Tell your baby weak now, but you can be strong after a while. Say weeping endure for one night, but joy is coming tomorrow morning. Tell somebody, say just be persistent. Can you take the neighbor by the hand and say, neighbor, I know you're going through something, but everything it's going to work for your favor. You just learn to be persistent in your walk with God. Oh, y'all got to help me up in here. Hallelujah. Tell your neighbor to live. I believe there's anointing from God that's going to get a hold of you. And you're going to be a blessing to so many other people because you get better following after God. Hallelujah. Tell somebody I may not have a horse, I may not have a chariot, but tell them I got a God. Hallelujah. Look him in the eyes. Say, I may not have a horse, and I may not have a chariot, but I have a God that can do anything but fail. Hallelujah. I'm talking about a God that God bless you coming in and going out. Hallelujah. Oh, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. Determined. Tell your neighbors to just be determined. Say, be determined. Say, be determined. Say, just be determined. Say, just be determined. Tell them because the situation you're in today, you won't be that way tomorrow. Hallelujah. Because tell them every day with Jesus. Say, every day with Jesus. That's much sweeter than the day before. I feel like preaching up here. Hallelujah. So I believe that God already has a plan. Said not just a miracle, but it has a plan miracle. God has already planned the miracle for you. And tell somebody, said I believe it's going to show up. Hallelujah. And said when it shows up, it's never going to be late. Hallelujah. Oh, Lord. Say you see me now, but you wait until later. You wait until later. You wait until later. Because God has an angel that's coming my way. Hallelujah. That will open those doors. Open those doors. Open those doors that seem closed in my face. Hallelujah. I feel like preaching now. Can you just touch him out on the shoulder? I say, I figure that you may have the Spirit of God in your life. So I thought I'd get a little bit of your anointing. Hallelujah. God has placed on you. Come on, y'all. Oh, yes. Everybody that got any time like amen. When you touch somebody, say, I believe that God is going to heal you. Oh, Lord. I heard my word say that any two when they touch and agree on earth. Hallelujah. He will bring it back. You and your neighbor that touch and agree. Say, I believe that God has miracles for you and me. Hallelujah. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Tell them this. You gotta be determined. You gotta have tenacity. Hallelujah. I believe that somebody will be here today with a victory. They will have a victory report. They will say, Bishop, I came in here with a problem. But now the Holy Ghost has given me a victory now. Hallelujah. The Bible says, thank be to God for giving me the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Tell somebody, say, I know that victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory is mine. Hallelujah. Oh, yes. Don't take a matter of fact that God has changed my name. My name is victory. Because I found Tell somebody else, I got it.
Thank you. Thank you.
See, I got it now.